Imagine, for a second, the raw, sheer power of nations. When we think of global dominance, we usually picture massive, unstoppable armies, sprawling naval fleets, or deep hidden stockpiles of nuclear weapons. But I'm here to tell you that's an illusion. The real power, the absolute control of our world, it isn't sitting in a classified war room. It's actually locked within a handful of tiny, almost invisible geographic lines drawn across a map.
The reality of it is actually quite staggering. Our entire global survival hangs by the thinnest of threads. You see, there are exactly 14 narrow maritime doors scattered across the globe. Just 14. And these aren't your average shipping lanes. No, these are the fragile, beating arteries of human survival and economic stability.
We call these literal bottlenecks, choke points. So what does this all mean? Well, they're incredibly narrow, highly strategic maritime routes. And if even one of them were to be blocked, it would quite literally suffocate the global economy almost overnight. The stakes we're talking about here are absolute. We're looking at immediate, catastrophic starvation, gas stations running completely dry, and the total collapse of the modern world as we know it.
Which brings us to our first stop in this explainer. Section 1. Middle Eastern Oil Arteries.
The sheer vulnerability we're looking at here is genuinely terrifying. Take the Strait of Hormuz, for example. This one strait handles over 30% of the world's entire oil trade. 30%! It sits right between Iran and Oman. And get this, at its narrowest point, it's a mere 33 kilometers wide. To put that into perspective, that's less than the length of a marathon. If this tiny gap were somehow blocked by military force, global fuel prices wouldn't just rise, they would instantly skyrocket into the stratosphere in a matter of hours.
Now, moving from the flow of oil to sheer, unfiltered danger, we arrive at Bab el-Mandeb. Its name literally translates from Arabic to the Gate of Tears. It sits tightly squeezed between Yemen and Djibouti. And, it earned that dark, ominous name from ancient shipwrecks and absolutely ruthless pirates. But the thing is, today, it remains just as deadly. Modern Houthi attacks targeting commercial ships have essentially turned this vital, everyday passage into a terrifying gauntlet for sailors.
Moving north, we enter Section 2, Europe's Ancient Waterways.
$54 billion. Let that massive number sink in for a moment. That is the sheer, unimaginable devastation caused by the Suez Canal blockage back in March of 2021. One single ship, the Ever Given, got stuck sideways and blocked the route for just 6 days. Just 6 days, and it wiped out $54 billion from the global economy. Millions of tons of food, critical machinery, and everyday goods, they all simply froze, stranded in the middle of the desert.
Because here's the reality, without the highly efficient man-made Suez Canal, ships are forced to take the old, historical backup route, the one discovered by Vasco da Gama centuries ago, the Cape of Good Hope. This means sailing all the way down and around the massive continent of Africa. It adds weeks and weeks of travel time, costs millions in extra fuel, and literally forces these huge ships straight into the treacherous, deadly waves of the South Indian Ocean.
And as we push deeper into Europe, these waters are governed by incredibly strict geopolitical control. Take the Strait of Gibraltar. It's a gap so narrow you can actually see Africa right from Europe. And half of its daily trade is monitored by a British military base. Then you've got the Bosphorus and Dardanelles. Turkey legally controls these gates, acting as the ultimate red line gatekeeper for Russia's crucial access to warm waters year-round. And the English Channel? Over 400 commercial ships pass through there every single day. It is, without a doubt, the beating economic gateway to Europe.
Now, let's shift our focus east. Section 3, Asia's Vulnerable Trade Routes.
Out here, an absolutely immense weight is placed on one single fragile channel. A full 25% of all global sea trade literally squeezes right through the Strait of Malacca, which is nestled snugly between Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia. Now for China, this isn't just about trade, it is absolutely a matter of life and death. In geopolitical circles, it's notoriously known as the Malacca Dilemma. If a rival naval power ever blocked this strait, China's supply lines would be completely severed. Their entire economy would essentially suffocate.
Because the Malacca Strait is so heavily burdened, backup routes are absolutely crucial. Now, the Sunda Strait is one option, but it's dangerously shallow and practically fraught with active underwater volcanoes. Yeah, not ideal.
But then there's the Lombok Strait. This one is a deep water blessing, absolutely perfect for those massive, heavy oil tankers. This stroke of geographic luck uniquely positions Indonesia as a rapidly rising maritime superpower. I mean, they literally hold the keys to alternative global trade.
Which brings us to one of the most critical areas on Earth. Section 4, Taiwan, the ultimate flashpoint.
Think about the technology sitting in your pocket right now, or even the screen you're using to watch this explainer. Did you know Taiwan produces 70% of the entire world's microchips? 70%! The entire modern, hyper-connected technological world we live in depends completely, entirely, on the stability of this single, heavily contested stretch of water.
But it's not just about microchips. The Taiwan Strait is a massive, highly strategic military hurdle. From the Philippines up to Taiwan, and stretching from Taiwan over to Japan, there is a literal wall of islands connected by shallow waters. This is the chain of island strategy. You see, China views Taiwan as an absolute existential geographic requirement. Why? Because right now, those shallow waters act like a net, blocking Chinese submarines from quietly and directly slipping into the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean. It is the ultimate geographic blockade.
So, where does this all lead us? Section 5, the future of global control.
Let's consider the absolute marvel that is the Panama Canal. This is an engineering miracle, right? It physically lifts massive, multi-ton ships way above sea level using a series of locks, gently carries them across rugged, mountainous terrain, and then slowly lowers them right back down into the opposite ocean. It's brilliant, but it is terrifyingly vulnerable. Climate change is severely lowering those crucial water levels. If the canal ever dries up to the point of being unusable, global shipping will be violently forced back down to the freezing, stormy, and incredibly dangerous Strait of Magellan, all the way at the very bottom of the world.
But you know, as one door threatens to close forever, a brand new one is literally melting open. The real question is, who will control the Bering Strait? Sitting directly between the shores of Alaska and Russia, this was for all of human history an impassable frozen wall of solid ice. But as global temperatures rise and that ice melts away, a massive uncharted new trade route is emerging from the frost. It's a direct shortcut connecting Asia straight over to the west. The power struggle for the next century, it is thawing out right before our very eyes.
10. Out of the 14 total choke points that dictate human survival in all of global trade, the United States maintains a direct or indirect military presence at 10 of them. This cements a singular, absolute, undeniable truth about our world. True power? It really isn't just about the strength, or the size, or the terrifying reach of your weapons. It's about who holds the keys. It's about who controls the doors.
We all go about our daily routines, completely assuming that the modern world is this massive, unbreakable machine. But as we've just seen together, it all actually relies on just a few extremely fragile doors staying open. So I leave you with this. The real question isn't whether one of these doors will eventually slam shut, but what exactly happens to the rest of the world when it does.
Thank you for watching this incredible story. Please like and share for more amazing videos.